Just so you know.
Yeah. Well, at one time, yeah, I was heavier at one time. Yeah, I was.
I didn't know her then, by the way. I didn't
No.
know. No, there we go. There we go. We're live. There we are. We're live. We're live everywhere. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee, 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 ooh-wee. There we are. And we are live, boys and girls. But yeah, my goodness gracious, you really have you've acquired a neck. I don't, all the rest of it left.
I know.
I like your shirt. Don't mess with the Grandma Sora. She'll get that's
Jurassic kicked.
That's great. Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, hi guys. I'm George. This is Cheryl, and here's Jennifer. And we may have some more guests. We don't know. We never do. We're going to spend the next hour, 60 minutes or so, talking about Alzheimer's, from an identical twin to caregiving of parents and loved ones to personally being threatened by Alzheimer or frontal lobe, whichever we want to look at. And we're going to talk about that. Cheryl's going to be with us for a little bit, and then she's going to head off to the hacienda bed because she's got a busy day. But we're looking to add more and more of our format. We're looking to add more to our format to be able to provide more information to share with people. And if you have any comments or questions or your criticisms, we're open to everything. But in terms of the protocol, how this is going to go, we're going to just going to introduce this because we want people to know that Alzheimer's is a form of dementia. It's a huge umbrella, and it is diagnosed generally too late. But even then, it's one, not inevitable. Two, it is reversible. It is improvable, and it is also preventable and that's one of the things we want to talk about. So we have historical, what we didn't know, what we do know, and where we're headed. And so one of the things I just want to grab right here is the fact that, let's go here, go there, is that it's a metabolic condition. And what a metabolic condition means, it's based on energy. And where we get our energy from is from our eating. So if food gets us into this mess, food can get us out, which would be a really logical assumption. And it is true, but we haven't looked at this. I mean, Alzheimer's was first kind of segregated out as a condition in about 1906. So it's been around noticeably and discussed for a little bit over 100 years, but it's really not well known in terms of any types of therapies. And most everybody's looked at trying to the money that is to be made are looking at drugs. They're looking at ways to use drugs to find something they can clear up, to treat a symptom on. But our brain's listening, so feed it well. The brain is listening, so we want to feed it well. And when we feed it well, we need to feed it with food. We need to feed it with sleep. We need to not feed it with sugar. But so this is kind of a wake-up call for anybody that happens to see this. If you see it live, great. Please make a comment. If not, get with us and talk about it later. But 1 in 9 adults over 65 have Alzheimer's. That's huge. That's huge. And only 40, and at 45 is when it starts to happen. People at 45 are getting it. So it's happening earlier. So it's a transitional thing. It happens. It gradually goes over time. But they don't look at anything till later. So we have to take responsibility. We have to empower the control and look at what we can do to deal with what's called early onset dementia, because that's on the rise. And how it's on the rise? Because our ultra processed, hyper palatable foods are literally toxifying us around the world. It's not just the US, it's everywhere. And you can see they're building, every town of any size is building more warehouses. And I don't mean for storage garages for stuff, it's storage garages for people. They're already planning on your demise and needing care. They're already planning on profitizing and are profitizing from your being ill because you've given up control. And we're trying to help people empower themselves to get back control, because cognitive decline is not normal of aging. It's not, and it doesn't have to be. So our hope is that you understand that habits are powerful, that neurogenesis, the creation of new nerve cells, new brain cells, continues while you're an adult. It doesn't quit when you're a baby. It doesn't quit as you're growing up. It goes on and on and on. There's neurogenesis continues. You don't die with the brain cells you had when you were 2. Okay, they replace and replenish themselves. And so lifestyle, how we eat, what we do, how we act, how active we are, how we move, how we sleep, our attitudes, our stress, all factors of lifestyle. And we can make more neurons. So one of the things we're going to help to leave you with is about nutrition. We don't want inflammation. And we're going to talk about different ways to eat. We're going to talk about moving anywhere, anything. Just go. Even we walk, Now, she walks like she's at the mall. I walk like I'm going out to get the newspaper. But we're walking, okay? And sleep. She gets great sleep. I sleep fast. I put my 8 hours into about 4 or 5 or 6. She puts her 8 hours into 9 or 10. So
I do not.
But so we want to work on getting deeper sleep, getting the room darker, get rid of the blue lights, stress, work on meditation, box breathing, things like that. Get out and walk in nature, get outside, and social connections. We really need interaction with others. Withdrawal is one of the signs that you have an issue coming on board leading towards Alzheimer's. And we'll talk about that as well. So the enemies of your brain, who's hijacking your brain? Insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is the big deal. And people say, well, I don't have diabetes. I didn't say diabetes. I said insulin resistance. Do you have brain fog? You got insulin resistance. You have skin tag. You have insulin resistance. You got some body fat, obesity, high blood pressure. You got ED, erectile dysfunction, gout, sarcopenia, cardiovascular disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver. You've got insulin resistance. You got memory loss. Can't remember where your keys are. You have insulin resistance. Inflammation, not just on your body, but poor sleep, everything else. Insulin resistance. You snore. Insulin resistance. She doesn't anymore. You have too many. You love sugar. You're addicted to sugar. You drink alcohol more than how frequently you do. Processed foods. What are you feeding your kids? Those little Lunchables and things. You get them all these kind of snack boxes. Okay. You're starting them on the road to Alzheimer's, dementia, all the cardiovascular, metabolic diseases. Remember, they're all related to energy, and it's glucose, the spikes, and the stress hormones. So your brain starving for your fuel. Don't be feeding it mud. So we're going to look over to the fact that we want to deal with getting ourselves better, getting ourselves to metabolic health. And when we look at that, guys, we want to make sure that we watch this, okay? So we're going to start, and I've taken the warm-up here. Just remember that it is improvable. This is your wake-up call. And we want you to know that it starts decades before. So we're going to talk now about some stories of actual Alzheimer's. We're going to talk about it from a genetic standpoint with identical twins. We're going to talk about it from care and loving standpoints in all kinds of ways. Then we're going to talk about it from a personal standpoint. So this is Cheryl. And Cheryl, we're going to talk about you and your sister.
Okay. I am an identical twin. I'm on the right. My twin is on the left. We were mirror twins. This was taken, we were about 5 years old. We were best friends. We never felt the need for other friendships because we always had each other. She was diagnosed. You can skip that one. Okay, this is another picture that was taken at a wedding, one of my favorites. And this was taken. My kids bought me that same top she had. Her kids bought her that one, and neither one of our kids knew that they were buying the same tops. We would send each other or send our mother the same birthday card. I think we even sent each other the same birthday card one year. And this was taken, she was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's when she was 54 years old in January. This was taken early spring of that year, and I'm so glad we had this. It was a very emotional time for both of us when we did these. We did a whole series of pictures, but I'm so glad we have them.
And she was how young was she?
She was 54. She was diagnosed at Mayo Clinic. It was unbelievable. I could not believe it. I was up there when she was diagnosed. Her husband, they had been up there at Mayo for a week. They came back for the weekend because her her daughter-in-law was having a birthday party for her son. So, and her husband told me that night, asked me if I wanted to go to Mayo with him the next week. And he told me that night that they were looking at dementia, and that was the biggest shock of my life. I would have never guessed. She progressed. Well, when I asked the doctor what we were looking at Mayo, he said she could be in a nursing home in 4 years. Actually, it was 5. Her husband took very good care of her, but it just got to be too much. She started getting a little bit violent. And so he put her in a nursing home. He put her in and almost went back to get her because it was so upsetting. It was so upsetting to see her there. Taken away from her home from the people she knew to a complete facility with people she did not even know. I remember they told us not to wait for a couple days before we went to see her to settle in. And her daughter and I went about 4 days later, and she was in a locked unit. They have to lock those units. So she was looking. We walked up to the door and looked in, and she saw us, and she just started crying. But it's a horrible disease. It's horrible to watch them from being vibrant to just a shell that she couldn't talk anymore. She couldn't feed herself. It's a very horrible, horrible disease.
In her onset, what were the symptoms that were noticed?
Well, she and her husband were building a new home. They had built probably 3 before that. And she was always a general contractor. And she would be in charge of getting everything ordered at certain times, and she would forget to order things. So her family really noticed that I wasn't around her like they were, so I didn't notice, things like that. We went to her son's wedding in Florida, and we were walking on the beach that morning, me and her daughter and Sharon, and she was lagging behind, and I thought that was so unusual for her. And she had no self-confidence anymore. She just became very quiet and withdrawn. And she was working at Unit 5 School District as a secretary. And she would call me every night. And she was and this was before she was diagnosed. She was so upset because she said the kids were driving her nuts. This one lady was driving her nuts, and she couldn't handle it. And I thought that's really unusual. And then the principal noticed too. He told her husband, he said, I think there's something wrong with Sharon. He said, she always loved those kids, and now she just has no patience with them. And he said she always loved them, and he said something's changed. And then when we look back, it's because she knew there was something there that she couldn't do the job like she normally did, and it was frustrating for her. So.
Now, as an identical twin, were you ever concerned for yourself?
Oh yes, I was, but everybody would say, well, aren't you going to take a test? Sorry. Said, aren't you afraid of getting it? And I said, yes, but at the time there was no test to find out. And I said, if there was a test, I wouldn't take it, because I didn't want to live in fear for the rest of my life, because I know what happens with that disease. A lot of people don't realize that. I had people say, oh, she's doing great. But yeah, on the outside of her, she was. And there was a lot of times when she would see people and she'd pretend like she knew them when she really didn't. But unless you're with these people every day, you don't, by outward appearances, yeah, they could be doing great, but they aren't. She lived the last year of her life in a nursing home. And the last time I fed her she was mobile for a while, and then it really got bad and we had to feed her, and then they pureed her food. And the last time I fed her was on a New Year's Day, and she was gagging and stuff. So I just quit feeding her because I didn't want her to aspirate, which they can. And that was on a Monday. So I went back on Wednesday, and I walked in the room, and the hospice nurse was putting her back in bed. And I said to her, she's not breathing right. And she's called the nurse from the nursing home in, and she took her vitals, and she said, you need to call family. So I did. That was on Wednesday. Her daughter and I stayed around the clock with her. I slept right beside her in the bed. I went home on, I think it was Thursday, to take a shower. And my husband said, I didn't think you'd leave. And I said, well, she's not ready. I knew she was going to die on Saturday. That's how close we were. And she did. She did. I miss her every day. When I lost her, I lost half of my whole. And people, I guess, if you have not been around twins or had any association with twins, People don't understand that, but they're just something where one egg that split. And we were very close. So,
You went to Washington, D.C.?
yes, got very involved with the Alzheimer's Association and did speeches, and the main office was in Peoria, Illinois, and we got involved with that. And the lady there was very interested in me and my sister, and she asked me if we would go to Washington, D.C. to the national convention and if I would give a speech. And I did. Sharon went with me, although it was kind of hard because I had never traveled alone before. But it was kind of hard because I had to, juggle the luggage and make sure she didn't get on my sight. And she did. I mean, when we went through security, she got stopped, of course. And the lady was going to pull her aside. And I said, you can't, I have to have her by my side. I said, I can't let her out of my sight. I said, she has Alzheimer's. She was very, very understanding. She just kind of waited to the side until I got through. And so.
What's something you'd want to make sure everybody knows about Alzheimer's?
Well, that it is a killer disease. A lot of people don't know that. I had people say, oh, well, she just, you just forget things. I said, no, it is a killer disease. Their brain stops working. They don't know how to swallow. She was like a vegetable for a while, right before she died. She really was. So.
No, you did good. You did good.
Thank you.
You did good. So yeah, guys, it's Alzheimer's. Think about it. That's a story. That's identical twins. And one of the things here is that it is not inevitable. Okay, identical twins. One came down with symptoms and died with it, from it. Okay. The other is older now.
By an hour.
But yeah, an hour older than her and a few years older than me, and turning another decade in a couple of months. So the deal is that it isn't inevitable, even if the genetics say that it's there. Mm-hmm. But it is improvable. It's one of the reasons Cheryl's on the protocol. It's not weight loss for her. It's not diabetes for her. It's to feel better. To feel better. And so if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm gonna send her off to bed. Good night, farewell, love you. Good
night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
All right.
See you, Jennifer.
Bye.
Don't take my away. Okay. Cool. All right. So Jennifer, my buddy and comrade at arms. So in your week, how's your week going?
My week has been very, very good. Not a whole lot of appointments per se. For those that don't know, I'm caring for both of my parents. My mother was diagnosed with mild cognitive decline that is more progressed than someone at the age of 78. My father has been given 2 Alzheimer's medications to take. No official diagnosis. That will come at the end of October. This week, if you were here last week, you would know that I was trying to relinquish some of the procedures in the house when it comes to my mom's medications. Sort of testing the waters in a sense. to see if my father was capable of following through. There was a little bit of confusion on a particular. My mom takes a lot of eye drops because she is considered legally blind, has very minimal vision in her left eye. And by the end of the week, I had realized that he was giving the wrong drop. So that has now come back to me.
And
That
they've
was
given that back to you. You didn't take it from them. They've
no,
given you
no.
back that.
I did ask. I did ask my mom. I said, knowing that this is kind of how things went. Now, mind you, I gave him a sheet. I had times. I had the drop. I had the eye that it's supposed to go into. His procedures changed. Once, some he was writing down times. The next, he was crossing them out before he gave them to her. There are 2 eye drops that actually are in vials. One is larger than the other. Well, me doing it for the past 2 years, I knew what they were. And you can read the small little print on there, and I have them all in the same spot every day. And it wasn't until I had tried to get a refill and they said it's too soon. And I said, I believe my father was giving the wrong eye drop. We've been testing this out. And now that we know, I did ask my mother, I said, would you like me to take that back over? And this is with my father being in the room. And she said, yes, if you could. Now, tonight on the call, I know that there's 2 eye drops left. I know that they both go in the left eye. He knows they both go in the left eye because we talked about it. So he will give the 2 he knows have to go in the left eye.
Perfect. Good.
So
Wonderful. Well, you're doing great. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. You're doing Herculean work. Tell us about Grandma here. Let's see.
you
Uh,
want to talk about Grandma Helen? Well,
yeah,
Grandma
let's talk
Helen.
about Grandma Helen.
Oh, love and miss Grandma Helen. When Grandma was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, I was in my teens. And obviously, I did not live in the state of Florida where my grandmother lived. I lived in Michigan. So it was, I would see her on holidays. So spring break and Christmas were the times that I spent with my grandma. When overhearing things over the years, Grandma had become a wanderer and liked to wander away, put random items in a paper bag, and go about her merry way. She also used to be an avid baker. She loved to make Mexican wedding cakes. Grandma was the cookie girl, so I knew when I went to visit Grandma, I'd go and see all of her tins of all of her pre-made food. She also just had a soft, gentle sense about her. As the disease progressed, my grandmother had fallen and broken her hip. And unfortunately, her right and my grandfather's right to have her come back to the home was relinquished, not by choice. It was not a safe environment for her to be at the stage of Alzheimer's with a broken hip that she was in. So she was moved into a skilled nursing facility on the Alzheimer wing. Like Cheryl was mentioning, it's a locked unit, so they don't wander away. Unfortunately, my grandmother was still in a wheelchair because she had recently broken her hip and suffered migraines from as long as I can remember. And being in a facility like that, there's no carpet on the floors, it's very loud, everything's echoing. So grandma would be holding her head rocking when she'd be having a really bad day with migraines. She also, like Cheryl was mentioning with her sister, my grandmother turned somewhat violent in a sense. She thought my 6 foot something uncle was a terrorist, so she was trying to shove him out the window, which obviously wasn't going to happen from a wheelchair. She also believed that I was my mother, so she kept calling me Karen. I'm 14. I don't know why she's calling me this. I keep reminding her what my name is, and she is determined that I am her daughter, and my father is her husband. So lots of emotions flying around anytime we went to visit. it's, you want her to remember, you want her to remember, you want to be called by your name. And it's an emotional roller coaster when, I can't just be Jennifer and my mom just can't be Karen. It's like Karen would never existed and I am Karen. So there's a lot of confusion during that time, not only for her having Alzheimer's, but also for the family. I mean, we all know who we are, and we're trying to include her in the conversations. And she was going back in time. She was talking about friends from when she was little. And, that's one of the things that they tend to do. The short term and a lot of the long term does go away. But the monumental moments for her were trips she had with her, school friends and things she did as a young woman. And, it's almost like a whole chunk of her life had disappeared. So it was a very, very sad time. Um, and sadly my grandfather passed away before she did. And she thought my dad was her husband. So that was not something unfortunately we weren't ever to,
Sure.
be able to bring to her attention.
Now, looking at your now at your parents living in the house, you're a caregiver 24/7 now, aren't you?
I am, yes. Never thought in a million years that would be a role I would tackle. um, it has been a roller coaster for me. When I first started this journey, it was very emotional, seeing the change from being away and only coming, during short visits. The confusion, the short-term memory loss. I think that's the biggest one, and you can see the frustration. Both of my parents have done the social removal, like you were mentioning earlier. Not a lot of phone calls to friends. There are no events that they want to go to. If they go out of the house, it's to go to Target or to CVS. No outside meals. Everything's handled here. Their big outings are really to Target anymore. And I how about we maybe go to a plant nursery and look at some plants. We'll replant some plants. And no, a lot of all the things they used to love to do together, there is none of that anymore.
Yeah, and part of the difficulty is mom is legally blind and
Hmm.
dad has driving issues, maybe spatial issues or not.
You know, if it is somewhere he has been before, like he knows where mom's hairdresser is. That has been a constant every Thursday for years. He can get there. He also knows her doctor is a couple blocks over. If I had introduced a pizza place that is literally, maybe you go to the light when you come out of the community, you take a right, it's the first shopping center. It's pretty straightforward. And he got in the shopping center and called me multiple times. I can't find it.
Yeah,
Or there have
yeah.
been others. There have been other times when you introduce a new place that he's never been. I don't know where I am.
Okay.
Those moments are terrifying. Even when he goes to the grocery store, yeah, he knows how to get there. But in the back of my mind, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the phone call so I can get in the car and I can go and bring him back.
Is there an
It's
anticipation when the driver's license may be revoked for both of them?
Well, mom hasn't driven in years because she can't see.
Right.
With dad, it's obviously a process. The thing I think that most people don't understand is caregivers don't want to take away people's rights to live their life. We don't want to inhibit them. We don't want to control them. We don't want to do any of that. But the thing that we always have in the forefront of our mind is we want you to be safe. So on his side and some on mom's, there's a lot of denial. I'm fine. I'm fine, is the response that you will always get. I'm fine. So I think things will come more to light once he sees the neurologist the end of October. So he will know kind of what is happening. I think he does know. I think my mom knows. I think that, denial is just as wicked as Alzheimer's. Because when you're in it, you either don't see that you're in it or you're so stuck and deep in it.
Yeah.
I'm not hearing anything else other than this is what I'm doing. Okay.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to watch the movie when you're in it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, unfortunately, it brings strain amongst other family members because they don't necessarily agree. They see a different side of the situation, which, I was shared a wonderful video where someone had said a lot of times caregivers are considered the villain. And I am definitely the villain to some. And I would like to think I'm maybe somewhat of a hero to others. Um, it's meeting your person where they are can be challenging when it comes to two people when they're in two different spaces. But in their mind, they're in the same space. So,
Now
for me, I've had to learn to start taking care of myself.
yeah, and we're proud of you for doing that. We're really proud of you for doing that.
Thank you,
And
George.
it's exciting, and part of it is that you've got your Jennifer is part of a larger community that is engaged, that cares. We've gone through things together differently, similarly, and it's a huge community that would never know each other had we not said yes to a protocol, to a method of things that we do that's changed our lives. And one of the reasons for this broadcast, this is to share more information because we know a lot of people have no idea to the wonderful Denial River, right? Unaware, choose to turn their back until it'll be too late, and then are going to have to try to figure out now what.
Yeah.
And if it's you, and we'll talk about a couple things personally like that. Are you aware? Do you notice? And even now, I've noticed more things from before where I am now that where I was at would have been leading right down to this naughty place. And it's not because you're sick. It's not because you're broken. There are environmental things and there are things that you can do. The question is, will you do them? Do you want to do them? Or are you just going to figure out you'll be the one that doesn't get the issue? You'll be the one that, and by the time you realize it, you won't even be knowing. You won't have any control. You won't know that you don't have any control. And you'll be exactly where you did not want to be without reverse. Now, it can be improvable. It can be slowed downable, but you can do a lot today for yourself and for your loved ones, starting today, starting tomorrow, starting tonight. Stop snacking. Stop snacking. Get some sleep. Calm down. Get some breathing exercises in. If you're not in the East Coast like Jennifer or in the Midwest, and it's 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock already at night, tomorrow get up and take a walk. Or when you eat, tomorrow take a little walk. See what you can do to not snack. See what you can do to fast. See what you can do to not buy foods in boxes and bags that have lots of crazy ingredients and things. So we're going to talk about some of that too. But in the program part, I'm going to show. I found a video, Jennifer,
Oh,
And
fantastic.
we're bringing in experts from the outside
Oh, nice.
and our show. And I got to find it. Now it went away, darn it. I got to find it again because I had it queued up and then it went away. So let me find it. And then we go to find it. It's a really good one too. On top of it, that's the whole deal. But we're going to bring in outside experts when we can get them on. We can, because we want to share as much as we can with people that there is hope, but you have to be aware that there are resources that you can use. Did you happen to talk with a pharmacist yet?
I have not.
Okay.
We haven't had any medication refills as of late. Mom's been dealing with some fluctuations, major fluctuations in her blood pressure,
Okay.
which required an ambulance ride last Friday. So we haven't had to introduce or refill anything as of yet.
Okay.
That will definitely be a question. I meet with Mom's doctor tomorrow, so
Okay.
we'll be going over the blood pressure issue to see what else is potentially going on. Mom is attempting to use the protocol.
Okay.
It's a slow process, but she's also she's been doing intermittent fasting.
Good.
She has
Energy.
has been working on her food order, which is very cool. It's very, very cool to watch her because she'll look at the plate. You know, she'll ask what's on the plate. She'll ask you what order to eat the food in. What is the best thing for me to do? So she's really giving it the best effort that she's able to right now.
Great. I love it. I love it. That's those are positive stages for her. We both know that because we've learned that through watching others do it and how it works for ourselves. So I'm going to try to cue this up here real quick. Hang on. Let's see if I can get it. 3, 2, 1. Let's see if we can get this. All right. Got to get through the ads on these things, right? I'm working so that I can have these already in the library. I don't have to research them back up. So I thank you for your patience. Come on. Come on, advertisements.
They always take longer when you really want to see something.
You know it. All right, I got one thing I have to do here, which is turn off Do Not Disturb, because it won't play anything if I have Do Not Disturb on. So I got that off. And let's go over here, go there. We should be able to be about ready to go. I'm going to get these queued up. I got to go past this ad again. So exciting, all these ads, you know. Okay, stop. Talk to me here. Turn up your video. Turn up your device to unmute the video. Okay. It's trying to unmute. Gosh, bugger dugger. Oh, and it's Dr. Berg too. It's Dr. Berg. I want him to be able to talk to us. And there we go. Come on. Oh, Mother of Mercy. Turn up your device volume to unmute the video. I already did. But anyway, so Jennifer, why don't you talk about the protocol real quick while I work on queuing this up for me?
You mean the two simple teas and the fiber
Yeah,
that I do on
well,
a daily
yeah, those
basis?
guys. Yeah, talk about
These
those.
little things?
Yeah, those little things.
Well, George and friends, the greatest thing about these is that they are so easy. I wake up in the morning and I skip breakfast and I start sipping on my tea. And what the tea does for me is it takes away my food noise. It keeps me full. I drink my tea along with in taking water. I also want to make sure that I have enough minerals in my system. So I also do some pinches of Celtic salt. I do know some people that do Baja Gold, or they also do Himalayan salt. And lunchtime rolls around. Depending on how long I'm wanting to fast, some days I go between 16 and 18 hours, and then I will take a fiber before I eat, um, and then I'll have my meal. And like George and I were talking, food order is very important. So I start with my fiber, my proteins and fats, and if I absolutely have to have the moment of my carb loving younger self, I will eat my carbs. And then once I'm finished with my lunch, I will go back and have another tea to calm my food noise throughout the afternoon. And then, me personally, I have another fiber before I go and have a meal. I will tell you, when I started this, I was very unsure. I heard the word intermittent fasting and I thought I was hearing, I'm going to starve. I used to eat a lot during the day. What does that mean? That means I had breakfast, lunch, dinner, maybe a couple pretzels, maybe a soda. I also was a pot a day coffee drinker. So this system has alleviated all the food noise. It has reversed my brain fog. It has taken away my arthritis and joint pain. I am in menopause. My menopausal belly is gone. I am off my high cholesterol meds, my anti-anxiety meds, along with a prescribed sleeping pill, all three of which I was on for 16 years. My whole purpose of being on this, one, I want to make sure I can remember things. Brain fog is real. I didn't know where my keys were. I couldn't remember why I walked into a room, which always made me think of my grandma. Does this mean I'm going to get Alzheimer's? Now, mind you, I was adopted. So when you add that on top of it, it was okay. I met my biological family during 2020. Which one of you has this? And the more I learned about insulin resistance, it is not genetic. It is not. It just means that my cells are not processing the glucose because they're knocking it away because my cells are full. So for me, this has been an absolute game changer. The bonus for me was that there was weight loss involved. This is the way my body is supposed to have been looking this entire time. So for me, it was absolutely something that I did not realize how ill I was until I look at this photo that I'm going to share with you. The one in the maroon shirt was in 24, and the one in the blue shirt was a couple days ago. So
Yeah,
I did not
incredible,
realize
isn't it?
how metabolically unhealthy I was until I started this whole process. So George, I know you were dealing with brain fog and other issues when you decided to jump on this protocol. So what do you have your mental clarity back? I mean, I know you're a couple years older than I am.
Yeah. So part of the impetus of my whole journey, guys, I'm still looking for this video. But yeah, I was I've been a yo-yo dieter. I'm just gonna have to give up on this for today. I was a yo-yo dieter for as long as I can remember. In fact, I think I coined the phrase diet whack-a-mole because the diet would come up and boom, I'm on that one, then I'm on this one, I'm on that one, and all. But it led me down a path to diabetes. And my fasting blood glucose was 834 with a A1C of 18.1. literally, I should have died.
Hmm.
I should be dead. I should have been in a coma. But God kept me around so I could help save and teach this message to others. And on this natural protocol, in 107 days, I had an A1C of 7.2 and a fasting blood glucose of 90. Now, I had every sign. I had every sign of something I didn't even know. Back in the day, I was a swimming coach, and the Bahamian children gave me the nickname Mr. Belly So Big. Mr. Belly So Big. Again, yes, I was. Because you look at someone that had the size of me at the time and walking against collegiate athletes that have body fat of maybe 6, 8, maybe 10. Long, lean, muscular, fit, trim, all there is them. Yeah, I'm Mr. Belly So Big. So yeah, not a question about it. And so therein lies part of the issue. Now, when I found out about what I talk about now is the fact that, guys, this is me right here. This is me right here. We'll move this. There's Mr. Belly So Big. There's Mr. Belly So Big. And when I got to 834, I earned the name Maple Syrup because I didn't have blood. I literally had 18% glucose. Stirring around, constantly stirring around, creating signs and symptoms of everything I'd never understood. No one ever taught me. And I was on the road to Alzheimer's dementia. I was on that road, and probably a combination of frontal temporal dementia and Alzheimer's. Those are two different things. We'll talk about those in a minute. But how can you not think about, look at that, Mr. Belly So Big, right? Mr. Belly So Big. 834 people die at 600. I've learned of two people that were in the 900s. One of them, we know, met him in Miami. Was in I believe 4 days in a coma, ICU, incubated. If you're only a few points higher than me, and yeah, I was saved. I mean, I'm here to and help educate people not to go down that path, because food got me into this mess. Food will get us out. And it's very simple that. But when you start looking at it and thinking about it from the standpoint of dementia and Alzheimer's, one of the thoughts that came to me on this was that our mom, this is my brothers and sisters, there's 10 of us. I'm the oldest of 10. And great group, wonderful group. Couldn't be prouder to be amongst this band of thieves. This right here is at my at mom's one of her indoctrinations or inductees to a Hall of Fame. She's in 3 different Hall of Fames. This has to be in 10 years. This is a decade ago. And it was in a sports Hall of Fame. And so we were all there. And this is her now. She's suffering. She's 96 and she has Alzheimer's. She's in her own home. We're blessed that we have the ability to keep her in her own home. We have a niece that we have as a caregiver 24/7. We have respite for her twice a week. We have hospice comes in twice a week. And every month, one of us is there as well. So we have and sometimes more than one of us is there. Because if one shows up, a lot of times the others kind of, oh, okay, cool. So-and-so's had to, okay. All right. But we live in 8 different states, from Alaska to Hawaii, Florida, California, Washington, Alabama, South Dakota, Illinois. We span the U.S. We have one of us almost anywhere in the corner except for Maine. So, but yeah. So this is Mom. And when I was suffering from a personal standpoint, what I didn't understand was the fact that when you get going with this, and it's a progressive thing, it's very moderate, you don't know it. Insulin resistance is what we're talking about. Insulin resistance is the culprit. And insulin resistance is a result of your cells. Now we're talking cellular level, cells not accepting the energy source. Remember, we're talking about a metabolic issue, right? And we're talking about metabolism. Metabolism is a process of utilization of energy in your cells. And normally, when your cells are insulin sensitive, they go, okay, come on in. We'll use you, burn you, cool. And they've got plenty of energy. What happens, though, when there's too much glucose, blood glucose in the system, the cells are full and can't take anymore. But the other side of it is a dysbiosis. What happens is the cells are too full and they have waste product and they can't get that out. So the cells are rotting, for a lack of a better word. There's too much dead and fat inside of them, waste product, and they can't get it out to allow anything in. And what happens then, if the cells can't take it, generally the first ones are your muscle cells. Then it's going to go to the liver. Think about the largest organs in your body. It's going to go to the muscles. And then there's the liver, because the liver's nearby. And then it goes to the brain. Hey, and the brain says, we're the same as everybody else. No, we're done. So they start to die. Think about this. If they can't get fresh energy in, that doesn't mean they have enough energy. There's no gas. Gas can't get in. You could have your car parked at the pump, and if the cap's on, nothing's going in. And so that's what happens. Their cells aren't sensitive to getting in because they have no room. There's no space. Okay? So finally, what's the largest organ in your body? Your skin. And it's the outside, isn't it? So it's the first line of defense from the outside, but it's also the last line of defense from the inside. And when chaos reigns supreme, and I don't mean pizza, when chaos reigns supreme on the inside, you start turning into a hydra. Do you remember biology? You probably don't. Anyway, in biology, you studied the hydra. It's a little animal that buds. It reproduces by going like this. It starts being like a buds. Growing. And now those little buds come out of your neck, come out of your ears, come out of your eyes, your chin, your eyelids, your armpits. It starts everywhere. You're growing. Extremities, because insulin is a growth hormone. And then you start maybe getting brain fog. Maybe your hair starts falling off. Maybe ladies, you start getting hair where you didn't think you should have hair. Mm-hmm. Maybe you get dark patches, like someone hit you with an old felt eraser and it's still on you. You get dark patches of skin under your armpits and your back of your neck. I've seen that. I saw a poor gentleman. It looked like someone hit him with a felt eraser from a chalkboard and left it on his head. He needed an extender in the seat, on the airline seat in the back of the airport, the plane too. I wanted to reach out and say, "Guy, let me help you," but we don't do that, do we? We just kind of, Well, good luck, buddy. I wish I could tell you, and I don't want you to think I'm some kind of out of here, but I know, Jennifer, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
You cannot unsee it. I go to multiple grocery stores. I go to doctor's offices, and if I see a skin tag, if I see adult acne, if I see patches on the back of the neck, if I see menopausal belly, if I see visceral belly on men, I want to scream it from the rooftops.
Yes,
I know something
psoriasis,
that will
gout,
help you.
arthritis, any kind of inflammation.
Oh, absolutely. You
And
can
we're
see
talking
people that
inflammation.
are arthritic by the way that they move.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bleeding gums, hair
Mhm.
falling out, gingivitis, arthritis,
Yeah.
you name it, any itis. You
Yeah.
know, we can't see if you have erectile dysfunction. We can't see if you have PCOS. We can't see if you have high blood pressure. We can see your head looks like a tomato. And you'll say, "Oh, I don't have no diabetes. I'm fine. Okay, Jasper, whatever." But we know the fact, and because we saw you at the grocery store, and on the cart, the upper level of your cart, you've learned, because you saw somebody else do it, to take all your soda bottles and put them around. So you have you look like you've got Legos. You're building Legos on the upper level with your bottles. And then on the bottom level are those. Well, there's 3 for $10 cases. Am I saying what I don't see? And then we see what? Oh, then we see chips, mountain of chips, and crackers, and then cookies and candy. And then we see. It doesn't matter.
Were you taught when you walk in the grocery store, you go to the right, you go around the outside. In our store, there happens to be the bakery and the lunch meat, and then you've got the part, turkey, ham, but then I was taught, George, you go down every aisle. Okay, between where I found my chicken and my grass-fed beef and the vegetables, there is like a mile of processed food on all these shelves. Miles.
Yeah.
Because you're going up and down. So if you look, like you were saying, you're building the cart, all processed food. There may be a couple of vegetables on top.
Yeah. I think I like one of the stores I like is Aldi's, because they walk in and you're right immediately in the fresh food stuff. They put if you go to a store and immediately you're confronted with processed, ultra processed foods, it is designed that way on purpose.
Yep.
Because that is the cheapest food they have.
Yep.
Fresh vegetables, yes. Okay. And there you can do better on fresh vegetables. You can do fine if you know what you're looking for, but you want to get organic. That we're not going to go down that hole today. But fresh, whole, yes. Fresh, whole, yes. That's why 3 days a week I even do a cooking show, trying to show people how to do some simple things. And guys, here's the deal. My lesson on cooking is that recipes are a suggestion. If you're a baker like Grandma Helen was for Jennifer, if you're a baker, now you're dealing with science, because you guys have to measure things and level them out and weigh them to the gram and put them in this order.
Yeah.
If back in the day, the thing that would save me about baking was Betty. I could grab a box of Betty, throw an egg and a cup of milk or water in, stir it up, slosh it in, put it in the oven. Cool. I'm a baker. Cooking is a whole nother animal. Cooking, you get to have fun. Cooking, you know what profiles of things are. You get to play with food. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, we were told, don't play with your food, don't play with your food. No, I get to play with it, and I have a good time. And I play with knives, too. But the whole thing is that is that you want to eat well. Eating
Yes.
well is important because that
Yes.
ultimately is going to go right here.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so when we start looking at things like I had issues when I had my blood sugar was so high, I keep flashing back to different things, Jennifer. I remember one day in particular, and it's funny, how can you remember? Because I do remember this one. But I remember I left the house, drove one house down, and had to turn around and go back to the house 5 times because I forgot things.
Mm.
I forgot my phone. Okay, got every phone. Went and got my phone, came back in the house. I back in, go to the door, unlock, go into the house, or put the code in, get my phone, come back. Guess what? Got in the car, drove down this. I forgot something. So I go back and I had to pick up. Oh, I forgot my bag, my bag for the work. Okay, I did 5 times that day, 5 times to make it work. So there's a difference. You're going to go through just a couple of things real quick and we'll wrap up. But we'll look at the difference between Alzheimer's and frontal temporal dementia, FTD. So how does it affect memory? What's the difference between the two? Well, Alzheimer's, your memory is affected early and forgetfulness is very common. But if you have FTD, frontal temporal dementia, that's not the case. That's delayed. That's more delayed. Behavior changes occur later, being violent or aggressive and frustrated and that. But impulsivity, apathy, social skills, loss of social skills, that's frontal and that's early on. Go to that family, right? So then let's go, what else? Language. You have trouble with language develops later. Language problems, difficulty speaking or understanding, that's earlier. So let me explain. When my blood sugar was so high, when I was maple syrup, now when they tested it at 834 with an A1C of 18.1, that was a fasting blood glucose. I am sure there was days I'm higher than that. I know there had to be. Just think about the math. I was fasting for almost 20 hours when they did the blood to get 834. Had I just been in my normal daily cycle, I had to be 900 or something. God spared me. The more you think about it, the more like I'm here for a reason. It's just that way. But I remember I would be talking with someone or Cheryl, for example, and then I was like, stop mid. And I knew I had words I wanted to say, and in my head I'm going, okay, there's a D in it. It starts with an M. I'm struggling. I'm acting like, oh, everything's fine. And then I come up continue with the phrase, or I go someplace else. But I was aware of this was happening. And I'd already forgot. I already done the 5-time turnaround, memory loss thing. Now I have this frequency of things and like lyrics of songs. I love music, and I'm an old rocker kind of a thing, not a hard rocker, but I know music and songs. I would be great back in the day of name that tune, because I could name that tune in 1 or 2 notes easy. I'm all over it. I was actually on The Weakest Link, and I qualified to I was in the live pool for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with Regis. I qualified all the way up to being called. So I've been there. So I'm not the least resourceful mentally person in the world. I have a few utilizations, but language is a huge thing. It really was. And I could see and hear myself. But since I've been on the protocol, and you've been around me enough, Jennifer, you've heard me speak. I talk on different kinds of topics and go along just fine. I follow thought. I have a fairly large vocabulary and good command of it. I have a George Carlin attitude, so I listen to words and You know, I said, somebody said, how you doing today? And I said, I'm whelmed. And they go, what? I said, I'm whelmed. What do you mean by that? Well, I can't be over or under something I'm not. Just saying.
I love it.
And so let's continue on, and we'll be off in about 5 minutes or so. But we start looking at Alzheimer and the frontotemporal dementia. Okay, so moods, anxiety, depression appear later. If people they're emotionally, they lose empathy. They're very emotional. They're blunt. They're frustrated. That's the side that they're on. And if you get lost, disoriented, that's Alzheimer's. Usually you're aware of your surroundings initially if you have frontotemporal dementia. But there's a lot of similarities in there. People do get diagnosed. Those are different. But you're going to see more of the FTD on the younger, 45, 50. So if you, I'm just telling you guys, if you're watching this and you recognize yourself in any of these, get serious. Get your blood work done. And in getting your blood work done, get your insulin level measured. Your insulin, not your A1C, your insulin, your fasting insulin. If you don't get that done, go back and make them give it to you. But if they say, we don't do that here, go, why? It's your health. You stay in control. Get your fasting insulin. Look now at your triglyceride. That's on your lipid panel. And divide that by your HDL. And if it's over 2, we need to talk.
Yep.
If it's over 4, reality should slap you in the head and get a hold of Jennifer, get a hold of me, get a hold of somebody. Because you need help. You don't realize it yet. They may not have told you you're diabetic, comma, YET. See, we diagnose things too late. The early warning signs, some of these things we just talked about, and on some videos that both of us have done on different platforms, we go through early signs of insulin resistance. Understand, Alzheimer's dementia is at the end of insulin resistance. You can't get much worse than that. But it's a progression. You just don't wake up with Alzheimer's. You don't just wake up with dementia. There was a process. And you can ignore it. I mean, I did. I ignored my symptoms. I had skin tags. I couldn't ignore it, but I didn't know what was causing them. I had back acne to the nth degree. My hair started falling out. I had brain fog, bleeding gums. I had gout issues, inflammation. I was always hungry, always thirsty, never satisfied. I could eat 24/7 because I was peeing 24/7. I was thirsty 24/7. I figure I must be thirsty because I'm peeing all the time and there's a menstrual cycle. No, that's not it at all. And then I suffered from sarcopenia, which is muscle waste. And I got down to 143 pounds on a 5'8", 5'9". And they would say, hey, Jennifer, don't worry about that. You're just getting older. Poppycock.
I heard that all the time.
Poppycock. It ain't that. You don't have any idea. You're too lazy to study it. You don't get paid for telling me that or anything that could fix me. You don't get paid for that. Therefore, you won't do it. And if you do it, you're going to lose money. The business, the clinic will lose money. The hospital will lose money. You will lose money. The insurance company will lose money. The pharmaceutical companies will lose money if you advise anything other than what? SAM, Standard American Medicine. You'll lose your license. You'll lose your job. You'll lose your position if you advise and help people get off their medications, because that's not a business model that's sustainable. Alzheimer's is a gazillion-dollar industry. They're planning on keeping you sick until you can't be sick anymore. If they were really going to come up with a cure, they wouldn't be building all these warehouses for people. They would not be building all these storage garages for people to go live in. Think about that. There's one company that's building a gazillion-dollar facility, hiring thousands of people. Their focus is on what? Weight loss. Can they fix weight loss with the drug? No. Why? Because you're not fixing how the weight originated. It originated from you swallowing food, not a pill. Right? I mean, come on. Think about it. I mean, just step back. If I asked my 4-year-old great-grandson, hey, people are really getting large, and that's not good for them. And he would go, well, why? And I would go, well, because they eat so often. They eat and eat and eat and eat. What would you tell them? And he would say, well, they should stop eating. I mean, how difficult is that? Seriously. How hard is that to comprehend? We do not have a food shortage. Isn't it amazing all of a sudden everybody is all over on one of the anti-inflammatories? It's all about one of the anti-inflammatories because it might cause some kind of mental, right?
They were talking about all
of a sudden.
Yes,
all of a sudden,
it came out of nowhere, and I think it was the Thai product.
Yeah, the tea.
I was like, what?
There never will be a shortage of ibuprofen.
No.
See, all of these things are starting to come to light.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are starting to come to light. Are you going to listen and learn? Or are you going to allow others to control you? Because they already are. They already are. I mean, name one food that you can stop eating this week and you'll never buy again. I dare you. I dare you to drop one food that you have in your pantry all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I dare you. One food, just one. You will go through withdrawals, and I guarantee you won't go any better than 2 weeks. I know it. Because once you say no to yourself, and the little chippy over here going, come on, just have a little nibble. Come on, kids, have a little nibble. Come on, just a little. Hunger always wins, and you're addicted. You're addicted. We know that. It's what the protocol does is it helps us to stay away from that. It's willpower in a cup. You're going to drink fluids in a day anyway.
Mm-hmm.
How about if you drink something that is a natural GLP-1? How about that? Wouldn't that be cool? You don't have to take. You don't have to take shots. You don't have to take pills. You don't have to go to the pharmacy in the grocery store. Isn't that amazing? How the pharmacy is now in the grocery store. And why is it Well, Jennifer, I'm going to pull my George Carlin into here.
Okay.
Why is it that in a lot of stores, not the smaller ones, but in the larger ones, they have a health food section?
Uh-huh.
What's that make the rest of the store?
You know, questionable.
Just asking for George.
You know, I was going to ask.
If there's a health food section.
George, when was the last time you saw a commercial on TV or on the internet while you're flipping through stuff where it's advertising an organic farm? Do you recall one? Because I don't. I live in Florida, and 99.99% of the commercials are the you know what it is.
Yeah.
And you know, what's the next one? And what's the next one? And I'm inundated down here. I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I walk by my parents, that is all you hear.
Yep.
There's no, let's go for a walk down the street.
Ask your doctor if it's right for you. Ask your doctor if it's right for you. Ask your doctor. And you know what? You go and you ask. You go and you ask, and what's your doctor say? Well, might work. Yeah, why don't let's give it a shot?
Mm-hmm.
You know what he's saying? Thanks for the commission. Yeah, thanks for the commission. Love you. But yeah, guys, what we want and what we look to do, and I'll have this mastered by next Sunday. I promise you. That I'll have the videos up and ready to play. We'll probably be on a different platform, just so you know, but we'll do the same way. But we've got a lot of teaching to do. We really do. And what we want to do is raise awareness. And I live with it every day. I live with the same, there's how many food stores from here. There's how many convenience stores from here. You can go to the hardware store. You can go to the clothing store. You can go to a fabric store. You can go to an antique store, for heaven's sakes, and there's food available. We got no shortage of food. You ain't gonna starve. Can you put diesel? No, diesel's fuel, right? Diesel's a fuel, right? Gasoline is a fuel. Mm-hmm. What happens if you put diesel in your normal fuel car, or put regular gas in a diesel car? Does it work? It's fuel. What difference does it make? The car won't run. It will go a little bit and it will die, and your car is useless because they can't get it all out. Guys, ultra-processed food is the same thing, especially the seed oils and the modified starches like maltodextrin. It's the same thing. The analogy holds true. Diesel fuel is fuel. Jet fuel is fuel. Gasoline, E88, and all the other high-performance fuels. Nitrous oxide is a fuel. But you put the wrong fuel, the wrong energy in the system, it breaks. How do you think your body feels when you put in too much of the wrong stuff? That's exactly what's happening. Now, Jennifer and I have fun. I'm a nutcase half the time. I get that.
No, you're not.
But I have to have a sense of humor, or I'll just cry.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey that is painful to watch when you're trying to teach other people that here's a simple, easy way for you to correct your metabolic health.
Yep. And we don't want you to end up on this other side of the room
No.
like our parents have. Okay, we want to head it off for you. And maybe I can't save my mom. We'll keep it comfortable, but I can't save her. And Jennifer's working hard to try to help her parents. She can't save Grandma Helen, but maybe we can save your mom. Maybe we can save you. Maybe we can save your family from going down a path you don't have to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope you will join us next week. I promise I'll have Dr. Eric ready to go. I had Dr. Eric. I had Dr. Bickman. I've got them. I'm doing as I'm sorry, technology. I'm 73, guys. I'm not using that as an excuse.
Yeah, then don't even go there. Don't even go there. Okay.
So, guys, we love you, Jennifer. I love you. You're awesome. I'm proud of you. Again, every week I tell you, you look better and better and better. You're healthier and healthier and healthier, and the love and patience that you're giving your family is priceless, and the rewards are the eternal ones for you. So continue that. Always reach out if you need me. You know I'm always here for you. Guys, thank you very much for coming in. I know we did quite a bit tonight. We covered a lot of bases, but we want to share. And if you have any questions, get a hold of Jennifer. On November 8th, Jennifer is sponsoring a walk in Boca Raton in memory of Grandma Helen.
November 9th.
November 9th. Oh, it's my birthday. That's right. I forgot.
Because the 8th we're busy at a convention.
Well, the 8th, yes. The 8th we're busy. The 8th we're busy. All right.
So
kids.
if you go to my page, you'll be able to see the walk I'm doing in November to end Alzheimer's.
Perfect. I love it. All right. Good night.
All right. See you next time.
You bet.